Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I can hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay, but I can't see you.
All right, that's my fault. Here we go. Let me send this to you. Where is it? You can't see me, Coach Paul, because I didn't share it.
No,
Let's see.
I can see charts. No, I can't.
How about now?
Voila.
There we go.
Good to be on air.
Good to be here. Welcome, everyone, to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay. Been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6. And that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experiences and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that. You are all our chat, our audience. We want to thank you always for joining us, for hanging out with us, asking questions, contributing to the show. Shout out to Doom in the chat. He says, I'm here for the sauce, and Coach Jay and Coach Paul got it. We'll see what we can do for today. But Doom, thanks for joining. Thank you all for joining as always. Let us know how you did today. Were you up on the day, down on the day? Anything that you learned from the day? I got a little bit of a profit in this Topstep account. Traded some crude oil actually. Took a crude oil long for a couple ticks. In a personal account, took a long in the NASDAQ for a couple of points there as well, and then locked it up. But let us know how you did in the chat. Rich and Bedside says, passed my first combine today. Finally, congratulations. Slow and steady wins the race, but big thank you to Coach Jay and Coach Paul in the Topstep community. Rich, we see you in the chat all the time. We see you here. So we want to thank you for joining us. I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek into what we are doing next week. We talked about the 12th being the anniversary of the At the Buzzer on YouTube. We're going to be doing top quiz, a At the Buzzer specific top quiz next Tuesday. So just keep that in mind. Do your studying, but we'll be doing an At the Buzzer specific top quiz next week. We'll see who's been watching, who's been paying attention. We'll ask some questions and we'll see what we can do from there.
Who's been naughty and who's been nice?
Absolutely. So we'll be doing that next week. Again, just a little bit of a thank you for all of you joining and giving us an audience to speak to every day. Let's talk about the news. There wasn't much as far as planned news goes today. We did have some earnings: McDonald's, Disney, Uber reporting earnings this morning. We did have MBA mortgage applications come in at 6.77%. Previous was 6.83. Crude oil inventories came in at negative 3.029 million. Forecast was 0 million.
0 million?
Interesting. Forecast was 0. Yeah, it's weird. Gasoline inventories came in at negative 1.323 million. Forecast was negative 1 million. We did have a 10-year auction as well. A couple Fed speakers. We did hear increase in tariffs for India. I think the last number that I heard was 50%. Tariffs on goods from India. And Apple investment. Apple investing $100 billion in the U.S. President and Apple were speaking a lot today. I think they were at some type of conference where the president and Tim Cook were at, and Apple saying they'll be investing $100 billion in the U.S. Anything else you got on the news, Coach Paul?
Yeah, there was one statement by a Fed head, Fed's Daily. Tariffs are unlikely to boost inflation persistently in a way that monetary policy would need to be offset. I found that interesting. Maybe he's positioning to become the next Fed chairman.
Right.
But usually the Fed governors are in lockstep with a message, and I found that was a one-off. So I think right now, one of the things you're going to watch is the positioning to be the next Fed chairman. because there was a big move in the bond market today.
Yes, there
We'll go
was.
over it
What was that
later.
about?
More sellers than buyers. I don't know. I looked around.
Yeah, it was like a quick flash sale. We could take a look at the charts, but a quick flash sale. It recovered almost right away, but we saw a reaction across the board. We do have some, speaking about tariff deals, you see this big red block of text here on the Trader Hub. The Swiss president is set to leave DC without reaching a tariff deal. So we hear a lot about companies coming to the table to make some deals. Not a lot of ink to paper from what I've heard from a lot of our trade partners. So uh, still up in the air on that. Anything else you got in the news, Coach Paul? Or you want to go straight into these charts?
Um, let's go straight into the charts.
Talk about the charts. There are 35 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts today. To the downside, we had lean hogs down 0.94%, soybean meal down 1.33%, and crude oil down 1.57% for our biggest percentage mover to the downside. We did hear some news out of Russia as well, continuing to talk about a treaty, between the war between Russia and Ukraine, which the president put some pressure on Russia to get something resolved there. Bringing crude oil prices down a little bit. To the upside, we have micro Bitcoin up 1.46%, platinum up 1.8%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, up 2.19%. Micro Ethereum continues to
Got to
see.
bring that up,
Got to
don't
bring
you?
it up 3.8%, 3.08%, which means that you probably could have made enough for a burrito bowl from Chipotle. Trading that with max leverage. All right.
Steak burrito or chicken burrito?
Definitely, maybe even a veggie burrito. I don't even know if you had enough for protein. Trading micro Ethereum there. The to talk about our big four, we had crude oil down 1.58%, the S&P up 0.72%, gold pretty much flat, down 0.06%, and the NASDAQ, our biggest percentage mover in our, actually, nope, crude was the biggest percentage mover, but NASDAQ up pretty big today, up 1.21%. I'm going to pull up a NASDAQ chart here. Definitely no extra guac with the Ethereum. JD, I don't hate Ethereum, but the micro Ethereum futures contract is just again, I don't know how many traders we have trading it, but it's a tough one. We did talk about though, if you are looking for a market to kind of test some strategies and you don't want it to cost you a whole lot, do it in micro Ethereum. You'll have some skin in the game, but it is almost, and I'm gonna say almost because anything is possible. It is almost impossible to blow an account trading micro Ethereum. Now, someone's gonna try to prove me wrong. Please don't do that. It's not worth it. I promise you, it's
Oh
not
boy,
worth it. But
you laid the gauntlet down.
right. It is almost impossible. And Doom
No,
just
it
said it. You
is.
got to get 100 lot to see any type of action over there in the micro Ethereum. But if you want to test some strategies, it's a good place to do it.
Well, at least you don't have to pay the gas tax you would if you were trading or
Man,
buying Ethereum.
man.
That
During
was
the
all.
NFT craze, it's just like, all right, I bought this cool NFT and now I need to pay 10x the price in gas fees just to transfer it. I'm losing money, but I'm having fun. Uh,
Yeah, that was a good. I stopped. I
what a
heard
time.
that, and I'm like, I have other places to go.
What a time. What a time. All right. Let's get into this NASDAQ chart. Here we have the NASDAQ on the daily, Coach Paul. What are we looking at here? We talked about this a little bit yesterday. You said that yesterday this was some pretty bullish price action on yesterday's close. What are we seeing here on the daily?
Yeah, we recovered. We talked yesterday. Yesterday's action was a small range. You got the 50% of the day before where we found support. We're just hanging around this 20-day moving average. Um, the momentum is still on the upside, but really needs this, 1, 2, 3, 4 days of sideways action not to be surprised. The first days of trading in August. But we're grinding. Was what I can describe this best as. Right back to the 20. We still have this resistance area at these highs of the last 4 days, but it's still a bull market. We're still moving forward. We could have a really big day soon if some tariff announcement comes. But still looking good.
Looks pretty
What
good.
do you see?
Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. So yesterday, as we were closing at the buzzer, we saw a 1,000 lot on the offer at 23,105. Now, markets were closed. We couldn't trade at that time. I'm going to put that line on the charts, 23,105. And what we said was, hey, just pay attention to that level, right? There might be something going on there. And when we opened up last night, we checked right above that. They did pull the order. So not a lot of volume traded there. But I want to give a shout out to Kevin. Kevin, if you're watching in the chat, he took a short right at that level. He said, hey, you know what? Someone's putting some size out there, took a short in some micros, and off that level alone, there was a 50-point trade to the downside. But what we didn't see, and again, we saw that offer get pulled. So once we got above that level, then it became a support, right? When we identify some of these bigger orders in the market, more than just knowing that the large order is there, Coach Paul, I think it's about how the market responds, right? If it trades it. Now, if that 1,000 lot sells, is able to sell there, I think that means a lot more, or it means something completely different than that 1,000 lot pulling at that price. But someone was interested around that area. Why? I don't know. I don't need to know. But if we look at the market's reaction to that, right, it was almost, I'm short below that 105 and I'm long above it. And once we got above it, we didn't trade below it again. So go ahead, Coach Paul.
Yeah, and what else? We had that trade, and look at the structure of VWAP.
Yep.
From the get-go, from the opening last night, it turned and curved higher, held it for what, most of the night, just to explode higher. Like you said, Coach, where does it?
No,
Um,
no. The fact that something happened is more important than why it happened.
and look, when we closed above that level,
Yeah,
that was the support on a price basis, and the volume just kept on grinding, taking this higher.
yep, a nonstop grind to the upside the entire day. We did come back, check that level. We checked the 30-minute opening range from the Globex session, but just a grind up day, kind of reversing the move that we had yesterday. We had a pretty nice sell off yesterday. We closed above yesterday's highs. This is bullish price action here. Bullish price action. We'll see tomorrow the open interest numbers. Hogue did say we did have some increasing open interest yesterday on a down day, which means that we may have attracted some new shorts into this market. If they're holding those shorts and prices above where they got short, we might see them cover. And today was a pretty bullish day. Let's take a look at a shorter time frame. Let's go down. Let's go to the ES. For the shorter time frame, let's take a look at the first at the opening range for the S&P for the New York session. Chopped around a little bit, where we have the first hour of trade. We didn't get volume to leave that range. Pretty choppy. Shout out to Dakota and Baron and Doom trading on fast markets this morning. I know Doom caught a long from 290s in the NASDAQ, ended the day. I think it was a 1 micro NASDAQ, but still a great trade either way. Baron and Dakota, Baron got chopped up a little bit. I think he was looking for longs and it eventually got on the right side of the market. We know those guys are doing that combine challenge to who will get back into a live account first with the least amount of combines. And if you haven't voted on that already, Dakota is going to share a form tomorrow during slow markets where you can vote on that again. But a choppy first hour, and sometimes, Coach Paul, we say it, when that volume doesn't leave the range in that first hour, or in that first couple of minutes, actually, the better trade location comes later on in the day, maybe after the initial balance is set.
Very choppy. especially in the short term, we had a big volume buying, didn't really have a big range.
Yeah.
But later in the day, funny, and once again, remove the candles. So staying in that range, but
Hold on.
look at how
Hold on, Coach Paul. They're
quickly
saying
that
you
was
sound like a robot. I
bought.
think it might be on my
Yeah.
side. Give me 1 second here. Go ahead. Keep going.
Am I a robot again?
Hold on. Go ahead. Give me one more test.
How about now? Checking. 1, 2, 3.
You should be good now.
All right. Am I lagging? Let us know. All right. So, looking at the structure of just the VWAP, or the result of volume, I like to call it, and it did chop. Look at it did chop, but as the day went on, as time came in and more information came in, it turned around rapidly. And then when it left the range, it was off to the races. I like looking at this just like this sometimes to give me an idea of what the bigger volume results are. I don't like to fade that kind of action. So what can we assume happened on the opening? The bigger volume, the bigger players bought it and
Right.
held on.
Accumulating in this range, maybe for this breakout.
Yeah.
We did see a ton of size again trading on the books before this breakout move and on the way up in the NASDAQ and the S&P. If you were watching Fast Markets this morning, Doom, I know you were there. Sometimes traders say, how do these bigger orders affect the market? There was a 1,200 lot, and it turned out to be, at some point it was a 1,600, a couple 500 lots in the S&P. Those orders get put out there, Coach Paul. A lot of times we'll see them act like a magnet, and then as soon as we get there, they pull them up again. And Hogue says it. The market's job is to facilitate trade. Someone's trying to sell some size, or they're advertising some size out there. The market gets up to it, and they pull it and move it up. Let's put on our conspiracy theory hat for a second. Why would somebody do that?
Well, one thing I would say from my experience when I was in the options, but there could be a big order in something else, and they're leaning on it, and they need futures. That particular futures, say S&P futures, to get it done, but it has to be at a level. So if they only get 132 done, they cancel the balance and wait for the level to come back. That was pretty common in the bond pit, in the bond options, because like you said, we don't know really what the buyer and seller its intentions are. Are they hedging? Are they speculating direction? Are they funds? But we do see that they're there.
Yep.
And they do contribute to volume. And what the outcome of that volume is the important, to me, is the important information.
Agreed. Really nice rally here. Strong day going into tomorrow. Ending the day pretty close to the highs. This looks pretty bullish. We'll see what tomorrow brings, of course. We're back above the 20 moving average. This just looks like a necessary pullback, and we're right back to the regularly scheduled program of buy the dip. We'll see if we can get a breakout and get some volume to push us to all-time highs. We are starting to trade inside the candle that made the all-time high in both the S&P and the NASDAQ. So looking pretty good here. Anything else on the equities that you have, Coach Paul, before we move on?
That's it for me. Let's move on to the next.
Awesome. Kevin K in the chat says tomorrow down 400 points, calling it now. And
Hey,
Pie says the same thing. Tomorrow with another shit jobs data, we sell off. We do have some jobs data out tomorrow. Remember, jobless claims out before the market opens. We'll be covering it during the opening call on TopstepTV. Let's see. I think jobs data is the focus for a lot of people right now, especially with what happened with the BLS. But we'll see what tomorrow brings. Let's take a look at gold, Coach Paul. What are we looking at here?
well, nothing.
What have they done to our market? What have they done?
They didn't break it. We're still in that above the 20 and the 50. I don't want to overanalyze it. Nothing much being done there in intraday. I didn't even look at it. I didn't get an alert. But that right there, we're holding the value. Correction right back into the range from the last couple days. What if the market opened and no one wanted to trade gold? We'd see something like this.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of bounce. We've seen this market do this a couple of times where it just kind of gets stuck in the middle of this range. We know it's not going to stay here. It's consolidating, and the tighter this range gets on a higher time frame, eventually the move out of this range is going to be an explosive move. That Dorito just keeps getting tighter and tighter, and we're gonna have a couple of days like this in gold where it's not that great to trade. But even then, there was hi Ketsia in the chat. There was some opportunity. The house account did take a trade in gold. Got long. We polled the chat and asked which opening range are we going to take. Is it going to be the 1 minute, the 3 minute, or the 5 minute opening range? Chat seems to like the 5 minute opening range, Coach Paul.
Yep.
And that is the one we took this morning. Last night, decent sell opportunity. And got bought right back up in Asia. What are we seeing here?
Wow. I think of a market that's, well, there we go again with price. Let's put that VWAP back on that opening range.
Got you.
So we break out and VWAP broke out. Well, what time was that high made?
This high was made at 7:30 Central Time during the Asia session.
What opens up at 7:30, 8 o'clock?
Shanghai.
Shanghai gold. That was it. I was busy last night. I was waiting for the Shanghai open, and I got busy and didn't look. But let's look at the volume at 7:30 or 8 o'clock Central. And use that as the opening.
A little bit of a different story there.
Yeah. The volume, as we've seen, comes out on when the Shanghai exchange opens up.
Yeah, from that point, I mean, if you're patient enough, and we've seen Dakota do it with slow markets, where gold might be looking like a decent trade opportunity, but we wait for that volume spike, it's a completely different trade. Completely different trade.
Yeah, and Tokyo opens at that time also. Either way, the volume picks up, and then the price action moved. That was a great trade for the sell side.
You notice what the high of the day was from that point, right? We never got higher than that range. You could have sold anywhere in this range and risk above the high and never been wrong today.
And then kick yourself in the ass when you didn't take the J trade at the bottom.
Yeah, highest volume of the day at that point, at those lows. If you're wondering what the J trade is, this might be on the top quiz. But we have this high volume at the low. We close outside of that range, and Coach Paul, you say it all the time. If I'm maybe not looking for a long, but if I'm short and I see this signature, it's time to get out of the trade. Whatever my
And
profit
why
target
is
would have,
that?
because we see.
Because
Go ahead. Go ahead.
a J trade is selling or buying, in this case, is selling exhaustion, making new lows with high volume. Um, the market's telling you something. There's this. By the way, this isn't 100%. It's a high probability. So, how many times I've been in a great position like that without looking at volume and say, it's going to make another new low, but I didn't study volume, and like you said, you could have sold this anywhere, and it came back. That will tear your heart out. If you were expecting a few dollars more, let me know if anyone out there is. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's experienced that. You're like counting your coins, and the next thing you know, you're unchanged.
Yep.
Somewhere in that, you can see if you can find selling exhaustion. It's a great signal. It's a high probability that the selling stopped.
100%. I'm going to bring up another chart real quick. Go back to our Discord days a little bit here, Coach Paul, where we would share some of the Delta information. Taking a look at Quantower here. Let me see if I can pull this up and why we look at this. Volume flip. We do have, some more volume tools coming to Topstep X in the future, hopefully sooner than later. I know the team is working on that, but working on a bunch of different stuff to make this platform the best trading platform in trading right now. But I want to point something out here on the Delta. You hear Hogan Andre probably talk about Delta the most on Topstep TV, and basically what Delta is the difference between market order buys and sells. Right. I'm going to switch over. You guys should be able to see Quantower now. At these lows, right, we had that 5-minute candle that was the highest volume, 1,300 contracts traded, and you can see the value right here. 1,300 contracts traded in that 5-minute candle. That was the highest volume we saw at that time for the day. The delta in that candle alone was negative 43. So what does that mean? Ton of volume traded there, but only negative 43 delta. If somebody was market order selling down here, they met a ton of buyers in that volume. That's almost even, right? So they met some passive buyers in this space here. Passive buyers are going to push the market up, right? If in order for the market to continue going lower, if there's a passive buyer there that is buying 1,000 lots, in order for price to go lower, somebody needs to sell 2,000 lots, right, to get past that buyer and then more. These sellers met an equal buyer and stopped the market, and then we see a couple of candles later, positive 211 delta here. Who might be market order buying in this candle when this happens? After this happens, who might be buying here? The seller who said, "Oh shit, we're not going any lower. I need to get out." And that pushes us higher. So, on Top X, we find those candles in high volume, but there's something going on in those candles that can hint at a reversal, and we see it time and time again. You add the VWAP to that high volume candle, volume pushed to the upside. What does that mean? Buyers stepped in at the zone, and it's not a surprise that we see every time we come back down here, there are no more sellers in this market, and it pushes us right back up. So, you know, the DNA of a trade, Coach Paul.
The DNA of a good trade. By the way, looking at it from this perspective, I'll take back what I said. There's nothing here. but,
If you
but
zoom
on
in a little bit,
there always is something on a quantum level. But someone made the comment that has that ever failed? Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, it
But
definitely fails.
but it's a high probability, especially when you're making, it has to me, especially when it's making lows of the day and it's double or triple the average volume.
Yeah,
As you can see later on, we had bigger selling volume, but that wasn't off the lows of the day.
correct. And Coach Paul, how do we know it's the low of the day? Isn't that hindsight analysis?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I know this. The sellers, one of the last lessons I had with my mentor, Pete Stottlemyre, is don't try and buy low and sell high. Try to identify the last buyer or the last seller. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Really? I'm like,
Yeah. Going door to door and
really?
asking. It's like ringing your
Yeah.
doorbell. Hey, are you the last
Were
seller?
you the last seller? But here we we have what I call organic information. When I saw this, when I was in the trading pit, I knew that there was a temporary high or low when you have this selling, right? And the volume was actually audible. It was busy, it was loud, everyone was doing something. There was a lot of energy, and all of a sudden it just gets quiet.
Yep.
So at that, I used to have that. I used to scalp that, whatever direction it was. I'm like, well, that stopped. In this case, that's what happens here. That's what Pete Stottlemyre meant by the last seller. They're done,
Yeah.
and it's a high probability. Like I said, if I'm short, I'm done. I might not buy it, but I'm done. I'm just taking the money and running.
Yep. Yeah. Get out of the door first because everyone's going to be running to it, and you don't want to be the last buyer in that situation either. All right. Let's take a look. Anything else you got on gold, Coach Paul?
Nothing much. I think we're going to continue to grind.
We are still above that 200 moving average on the 30-minute. It's trending higher. It's just a slow grind, kind of stuck in the middle of this higher time frame range, but moving higher. All right, let's take a look at crude oil. So how do you spot it again? So okay, let me go back to that real quick because, like Coach Paul just said, our job is not to know. At least my job, Coach Paul. I do not try to figure out how to buy this low tick right here. Right, you just said that with Sotomayor, right?
Yeah.
Because which one is it? Is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? Which one? Okay, I can buy this low tick, and maybe now it's this low tick. For Allah in the chat, our job is not to try to find where this low tick happens. And that question I asked Coach Paul, right? How do we know it's the low of the day? That's hindsight analysis, especially in real time. The one thing we've talked about this specific trade setup is waiting for a candle close outside of this range, right? Because that's that added confirmation that the market is done trading here. We were talking about, is there a failed J trade setup? I'm gonna be honest. When volume leaves that range, it's like a 92% trade, and that's just a number I'm pulling out of nowhere. But like, if volume leaves that range, it's a pretty high probability trade. The question is, do we have the patience enough to wait for a close outside of that range? Now, I'm looking at a 5-minute chart here. You might look at a 3-minute chart, a 1-minute chart. So it's going to give you different results. But the trade here, right? Here's the analysis. We had high volume at what could be the low for the day. This has the potential to be a reversal, right? But this one had the potential to be a reversal also. So the trade happens when we close outside of this range, and now I'm buying, ideally somewhere above that high of the range with risk below the low, because what we're saying is we found the last seller. If we find another seller, then okay, this trade is wrong. But you identify it by letting the market play out a little bit. So we do this in hindsight, so it's real easy to say, okay, yeah, 4 more candles, and I wait. The
Yeah.
the entry signal doesn't happen for another 20 minutes after identifying this high volume. right? And having that patience to wait it out is extremely important.
You know, I had a hard time understanding that for a long time. As I said, when Pete told me that, we didn't have these tools, by the way, when he told me that.
Right.
Um, but now I'm working with you, Coach Jay, and your mastery of volume. I see that like it just pops out. Like,
Right.
oh, there it is. Um, Not as good on the last buyer. Why is that? I mean, we see these
Yeah.
it's like the selling is so obvious.
Yeah. Is it because
Um,
sellers panic more when things aren't going their
well,
way?
maybe I maybe, but it happens on both
It
sides.
does.
But the idea too is that you take that's where the experience comes. That's where your work comes. And understand that you can spot it without having, it just pops up. Another thing is, this is, we think in probabilities. Do not, we talk, that really works all the time. That can get you over leveraged.
Yeah.
Taking the proper, remember, when you see it too, you have to take the proper risk.
Correct. Correct.
Um, so, but it's a principle. This is, as Coach Jay defined it, it's exhausted selling. There's high volume selling, but the key is that you have a reversal, that you have a close above that candle, not just the price, but a close.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Good stuff here. We haven't broke down that trade in a little bit.
No.
But that close is important. And just back to your point, Coach Paul, even if it's a 95% trade, if I over leverage, if I say, hey, it's 95%, I'm going to take it. So I take 10 contracts right here because each one of these is going to look a little bit different. If I take 10 minis long here because it's a 95% trade, I'm stopped out and blown my account before I get to see any profits to the upside. So what Coach Paul just said, taking the proper risk for your account is what matters in any high probability setup that you have. I can't just over leverage because, oh, this is the time. I haven't heard of one trader in the world that has a 100% win rate. And maybe if you look at a high enough time frame, right, just buy it and never let go. Maybe, but it's not what we're doing here with day trading. Let's take a look at crude oil. Crude hasn't been so bad, Coach Paul. What are we looking at
No.
here on the daily?
Well, right back to the 200-day moving average. Are we going to find support here? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row of selling. Right back to the base of that beating we took a month ago.
Yeah.
But unless you were short, that was one of the best days of your life. But we're back at the support level. The way this market is grinding, I look for a reversal here. But here we're under the 20 and the 50. It's heavy. But look at the moving averages. They're all within like an average true daily range.
Yeah. All within a $2.50 range.
It's compressing, but man, we've seen this how many times, Coach? It stayed compressed for months on end.
Months. So are we seeing low of the range here, maybe?
Possibly. What I think, let's look at this as a J trade possibility.
Okay.
We have all the selling. We have the highest volume. We have higher than average. I'd like to see bigger volume.
Yep.
But let's look at today's high. And in the next couple days, if we settle higher than that, then we could. I would say the trend has changed and we can move up. One of the possibilities I'm looking at that. Look at how flat that 200-day moving
Yeah,
average
it
is.
is a straight line.
It is a straight line. So we're in the middle.
Yep.
Um,
So what's interesting, Coach Paul, is we haven't spent a lot of time recently under it.
no.
Right? It keeps coming down here and bouncing. We haven't, and some of the fundamental news that we're hearing is bearish crude oil prices. So do we get a break? It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot more volume. There was a question: would you consider this volume on the daily high volume? It's above average, right? It's above average, about 80,000 contracts above average. So are we seeing some selling coming into crude that could bring us below here? But for the last month, this has been the low of that range, and you know it's almost like Coach Paul, if you're playing basketball with somebody and they hit a shot, they hit a three, but you've seen them play before, and you're just like, this guy can't shoot. Prove it to me. Do it again. Hit another one, and then I'll start playing defense. Right. So crude oil, prove it to me. Prove that you can sell below this 200 moving average, and then I'll believe it. Until then,
Yeah,
this
even
is lower
off
in the range.
that big $10 whatever break, where did we stop?
Right at the 200 moving average.
Um,
Right here.
so, I'm not too excited about getting short right here. But let's keep an eye on it. See if we get a daily J trade in the crude.
That high is 66.75 high of the day. Let's take a look at a shorter time frame. JD did say that Trump gave Russia 10 days, 8 days ago. So we got 2 days to go. That would be Friday. So let's see what we hear there. Let's take a look at the price action from last night in crude. Decent rally. Decent rally here last night. We know that a lot of the volume comes in during the London session. So I'm going to mark out the London session range. Give me 1 second here. 3 a.m. Eastern time. Here's London. Of course, we can't just forget our friends in Asia, right? They are going to, sometimes trade crude. So we see a little bit of a rally. That volume started to pick up, leave that range early. By the time we get into London, we see that volume start to pick up and just an increase here. So pretty nice trade, pretty nice long last night. We pushed up, didn't get quite to the 200 moving average on the 30-minute by the time we got into the New York session, Coach Paul. I think the house did get long up here at these highs, which is a tough trade. That is a tough trade to take, being this high up in a market that's making a downtrend under that 200 moving average, Coach Paul.
Well, here, taking that trade with very little risk.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been a beating.
Yep.
But interesting, we couldn't get over the 200 on a half hour, and we got close.
Yeah.
And how long have we been under that?
It has been 1, 2, 3, 4 days.
And
something we haven't heard you, you say it all the time, Coach Paul. You only like to take one side of a market, either above or below that 200 moving average. Here's a good case here, right? Was there a decent long last night? There was, but when most of the volume starts to come in, this is a nice opportunity to look for a short. Again, maybe that's hindsight trading, but hey, that's what we do, so we can make these decisions in real time. Pushing up towards this 200 moving average and not even being able to trade it, is that a sign, Coach Paul?
Well, they pushed far. I mean, it got away from it had a pretty big daily range today.
Yeah, I think high to low in crude was a 4% range. Yeah, 4.5% range high to low in crude oil. So that's
$3.11 range.
Right.
The average range was $1.75.
It's a lot of movement.
Now, coming into that, how much higher were we?
When New York came in?
New York came in. We were like $1.50 higher, I think.
Yeah, yep, about that. About $1.25 higher.
Okay. Now that's the average two range is $1.75.
All your
You're
da-
under the 200.
all your daily range is spent overnight. How much meat is there left on the bone?
So let's say let's frame it out this morning when New York opens up.
Chat wanted to take a 5-minute opening range trade again today in crude oil, so we'll look at the 5-minute. Let's take a look here. Let's take these moving averages off. Where is it? There we go. 5-minute opening range here.
Volume. That's the 5-minute range. Isn't it bigger than that?
Nope. That is it. The crude
What time is that?
Crude opens 8 a.m. Central.
That's all the volume?
Yeah, so we did have inventories out today. Inventories, which you can't even see where the inventories candle is. I think they should just do away with that number because no one ever knows what the hell it means. But yeah, we had a real volume spike on some news. I think this was Russia-Ukraine news here. We've talked about where does a market really start for the day, and it's when that volume comes in. But yeah, here's the first 5 minutes if you're going time-based opening range.
Wow. So they were waiting for the
some type of news.
Wow. I mean, there was really no volume. That looks like a night trade.
Yeah, really nothing going on there.
Wow. But we anchor that VWAP, and it never left the range. Price spiked, small ranges, but wow, look at that. Okay, what am I saying? Whatever that news came out, look at the volume. Was that the highest of the day? And that was buying.
Highest volume of the day. And Bink, there you go. We were talking about, do we have these J trades? Yep, find the last buyer. Here they were at 66.75. Here's that DNA again, chat. Highest volume of the day at the highs. How do we know it's the high? We don't. But once we get a close outside of there and some urgency from VWAP, that is the trade. And what a trade it was from that point.
Wow. That's almost the opposite. Well, there's a J trade on the buying exhaustion.
Yep.
And look at that, boy. That's a knee-jerk reaction. Was that wow. Oops. Yep. It almost looks like a fat finger error.
Yeah, no, it does.
I said sell 2,000.
Real quick, I'm going to go back over I'm going to pull up the Quant Hour chart again. Let's take a look at that candle. 5-minute candle, 10,000 contracts traded in that 5-minute candle at the highs, negative 266 delta. So more market order sells in that candle than buys. Who might be market order selling there? We did have a pretty nice long leading into that. So maybe I just take my profits and go. I don't care about the price. I'm up a daily ATR from an overnight trade. Here, take them. Or it's, OPEC Plus has been flooding the crude market with supply. And here we go. We sell some more here. Whatever it is, a ton of selling that came in at the highs there, absorbed any buying, right? You can call it trapped buyers, the last buyer, whatever it is. There is a ton of volume that gets traded here, and that is it. We never trade higher than that price. Volume leaves almost immediately, and we get a pretty nice sell-off for the rest of the day.
Yeah. Well, we've just talked about a sell or a buying exhaustion. We rarely see it. We see it here.
There it is. Can happen both ways. Look both ways before you cross the street. All right. We went through our big four, Coach Paul. I don't see too many questions in the chat, but if you guys do have any questions for us, let us know. Coach Paul, for you, anything on your scouting report going into the next 2 days of the week?
Well, it's a nice trade in the euro currency.
Let's take a look. Euro on the daily here?
On the daily, look at that, the break we had. there we have on a daily, selling exhaustion. Yet today, yesterday, we closed above that, or 2 days ago, we closed above it. And it just took off today, whatever the news was. Let's look at the half hour from last night.
We got a question from GDL. Is the euro replacing the yen trade?
It seems that way. Yeah. The yen has just been a wash. Was I can say they're directionless? But here we go. We're over the 200. Late yesterday, we had that rally off the lows. Now, Asia doesn't really trade the euro. So let's see what happens at 3 o'clock Eastern.
3 a.m. Eastern time. We are looking at the euro, so why don't we look at the euro open? Here we are. And just a reminder for anyone in chat, if you do want to come on Topstep TV, we share a casting call. I can go find the link for you. You can fill that out if you want to get on the show. Please come and join us. It's always great to meet new traders and hear your perspective on the markets. So let me get that casting call link, Coach Paul, while you talk about this euro trade.
Well, by the way, someone asked about is replacing the Japanese yen. It seems to be for opportunity, because the euro has just been on a roll since March, since Liberation Day, whatever that day was. The euro has been on a roll to the upside. It's been one of the best performers this year on the buy side. Now, look what happened when Europe opened up. See, the Asian volume, look, was very small. Now, maybe I have a flair for the obvious, but the euro is going to trade more when Europe is open.
Makes sense.
I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I do have
a little
flair
bit of
for the
something.
obvious. But when Europe opened up, look what happened. The buying came in, and it never, look at that. It never made a new low, got accumulated. And now look at that volume spike on that buy. For whatever reason it was, I don't need to know the news. Just saw the results. That's what I call allocation. We just talked before. Someone came in, most likely, I'd love to see this. Someone came in and bought a package. When I mean like 1,000, said, "Hey, I'm taking a kind of a sweep," and now the sellers are looking for to get out of it they didn't get a chance. For the most part, either take that loss now, or if you waited, they bought more. And that was once again, if we take away the candles and see the structure of VWAP, gives us a really clear idea of what's going on. Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow.
More
they were
dramatic
buying
than I
that one.
thought.
Yeah, that is some serious volume there to the upside. We can take a look. We never looked below VWAP here, and just very strong trend. Traded the euro a couple of days ago. Took some nice trades. I might have to start looking at this one again. I'm gonna have, and I thank Coach Paul to bringing my attention to the euro. When it moves, it is one of the least stressful trades that I've taken in the past year. So thank you for bringing my attention to this one, Coach Paul.
Oh, well, one of the things I've learned too is don't trade it. Most of the time, don't trade it in or look for the opportunity in Asia. Wait for the European Open. Like I said, I'm not the sharpest knife in a drawer, but who's going to trade it the most? And by the way, if you're not familiar with it, banks, especially in FX or in currencies, they pass the deck every 8 hours. So why that opening in Europe? Well, now it's a new regime, so to speak. It's a new desk, and like we talk about in Crude, measuring it when London opens up. Um, Especially currencies or commodities like gold or crude, they trade. They never stop trading. This is like, I mean, it trades all the time. So the official futures open, which was Globex, doesn't necessarily where the market opens. That's why, and thank you, Coach Jay. Volume. Look at the volume.
Yeah.
Here we saw the volume. It came in, and there was no mistaking that was buying.
Yeah. 100%. I'm gonna keep this one. Are you keeping this on your scouting report for the rest of the week, Coach Paul? Because this is
Yeah, it's
nice.
a pretty good move. I mean, look at that daily. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't move euro down again, and look at how quickly that recovered.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I think it's a high probability that's going to continue. If we look at the daily when it crossed above the 200 moving average, it's just been a steady upward trend.
Yeah.
Um, and trends in the currencies, if we last a long time.
I know this is something that you like to do, Coach Paul. Maybe we're giving out a little bit of the sauce here, but attaching a VWAP to the last time we got a cross above that 200 moving average. Uh,
Huh.
Interesting.
Well, very interesting.
Interesting. Hey,
Wow.
but
So yeah, that buy the dip.
we're just two guys that look at markets every day. Buy the dip is right here in the euro. All right. Any other markets we want to talk about? Any questions that you guys have, chat? Uh,
No, I'm
oh,
pretty good.
can we please take a look at the bond market really quick? Whatever that random spike was, I mean, we see where we are with the 200 moving average. Actually, let's go to ZB. Little different here. What was that move in the 30-year today, Coach Paul? Or in the 10-year as well? What in across treasury products in general? What was that?
Someone tell me.
Yeah.
I got stopped out. It hurt me.
Yeah,
Take
very
my
random.
loss. It was really dramatic. And if we take a look at like a 3 minute,
Yeah, that the
yeah,
treasury products are not supposed to move like this.
and look at the volume.
88,000 contracts in the 30-year in a 3-minute candle. The
I
average,
will.
let's just look. The average on a 3-minute candle is about 1,500 during a normal day. 88,000 contracts traded in that 3-minute candle.
I'm. I wish I wouldn't have looked because I had to get out of an option trade. But I I think that's a real problem.
Yeah,
88,000.
it's
I mean, it's not like it's not rollover yet. It's not, I mean, it's a bond market. This is not supposed to happen like that.
right.
There is no, did you see any headline news that would affect it? Anyone?
No, so they were checking on fast markets. I had Financial Juice audio playing, and they were like, we don't see anything that would have caused that. So not really sure. And it was across the board, right? We saw a reaction in
Yep.
gold. We saw a reaction in the equities. We saw it in the treasury products. No headlines. Very, very interesting.
Someone asked, did the cash market move that way? My guess is it did.
Yeah, I'm assuming it did. Here we go.
But that's really concerning.
Yeah.
Well, what do I mean by that? That's not supposed to, this is the bond market. Well, those of us who have traded NASDAQ, yeah, that can happen.
Oh yeah. This is just another day in the NASDAQ.
It's another day. But yes, Andrew says someone fell asleep on the sell button again. This is not supposed to happen. This is a treasury market. I'll put my tinfoil hat on. Okay.
A player said it in the chat. It is a J trade. Highest volume low of the day. We close outside. Hey, I don't care what happens. The technicals are the technicals. We close outside, never close back in that range. Take the long. Would I risk the other end of this candle? That's a lot of risk. But a setup is a setup.
Well, my Tim, this is like a shot. This is very concerning to me about liquidity.
Yeah.
Like, really? I mean, if you're a market maker, what you're going to have to. Right now, I can imagine some market makers. Someone took a hit here. I'm gonna do it.
So Yogi says that this happened because of the 10-year auction. This happened an hour and a half before that 10-year auction. Right. And Yogi, we see you. I saw your message. I meant to comment on that. This was not the 10-year auction. This happened way before that. So unless someone knew what the results of that auction were going to be, the 10-year auction, you can't even see it on this chart. That's right here.
Yeah, even if there was an auction, you shouldn't see that kind of blip.
Right.
You might see that on of FOMC day or a big unemployment number. Not before an auction, and it happened in the bonds. It happened in the 10-year. It happened in the 5-year.
Yeah. Across the board. Maybe the auction was rigged. Who knows? But yeah, pretty big move here. But we kind of joking. What player just said that was a J trade long setup. The one of my approaches, and I was having a conversation with one of the traders in the chat during slow markets with Dakota one night, where we saw some pretty crazy volatility come into the markets, and I said that there is a way to trade this. Gonna give you guys a hint here. Anytime I'm watching Topstep TV and I hear Andre go, "Oh, crude oil just sold off $1.50 in the last 30 seconds," my brain instantly goes to looking for this trade setup because his reaction is happening at the expense of a big move on high volume. If you watch that volume class that I put out the other day, one of the questions that we ask is who's in control and is that volume sustainable? Sellers were in control here. Can they sustain selling 72,000 contracts every 3 minutes? Probably not. So once that finishes, that gives us that trade setup. So, if you hear, a overblown, some people feel it, a reaction to the markets, just understand that there's a potential trade setup happening if we're patient enough. And that's immediately where my brain goes when I hear that. Are we going to get continuation or is this potential for a reversal? But all right, I'll stop giving out trade secrets here. Well, I guess that's our job. That's what we're supposed to do. Coach Paul, you got anything else before we go for the day?
No, that's it. I'm going to want to find out what happened in a treasury market without a headline. So once again, there's a reason to always have a stop in and measure your risk and know what it is, what you're willing to and can afford to lose before you get into the market, because anything can happen.
ACH. ACH. All right, I think that's it. Thank you everyone for joining today. As always, good conversation. We try to get to everyone that we see in the chat. And we appreciate all of the contributions to the show. We don't get to run a show without your contribution, so we appreciate that as always. Yogi, no need to say my bad. I mess up all the time. It is what it is, and you didn't mess up. You were right about that auction, and pointing it out. But whatever happened today was some weird anomaly that we'll find out, or we never will. Who knows? Uh, but thank you everyone for joining. Trade well, manage your risk. I'll be on Slow Markets with Dakota tonight, but we do have Coach Hoop doing a class in Discord in the next 12 minutes. Then we have Coach Ray and Coach Vince, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time. Dakota with Slow Markets at 7:30. Aaron with the London Open at 1:30. D with the Euro Trade at 3:30. And then we'll be back on for opening call at 7:20 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Trade well, manage your risk. When your trade setups present themselves, take them with proper leverage for your accounts, right? Don't bet the house on one trade because no one has a 100% win rate. And we will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.